I want to bring in someone now who knows a lot about the swinging pendulum of American politics. Michael Reagan is a political commentator, a Republican strategist, and he's president of the Reagan Legacy Foundation, which advances the causes of his father, the former president of the United States, Ronald Reagan. Michael Reagan, it's so good to see you again. It's been a while since I've had a chance to talk with you. Thanks for doing this tonight. I'm just going to ask you right off the bat. You just heard Nancy Liu. She says that Chesa Boudin and those like him say it's just a matter of time, that they need the time in order to allow these sort of softer approaches to crime to really play out and move the needle. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so we need more crime. We need more looting. I mean, when they start looting Beverly Hills and that area of Los Angeles and what's going on in San Francisco is unconscionable. I have friends of mine who won't come to the state of California. It doesn't matter where you go, San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, it's all the same with the crime and the smash and grabs and what is going on. People are fearful. You can't go down Rodeo Drive and wear a watch. If it's a nice watch, you're going to be beat up. Your watch is going to be stolen. If you're having a nice lunch down in Beverly Hills, you could be ransacked by those people coming down. It is not safe in California. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old granddaughter, live in Sherman Oaks, nice area of town, but every night there is crime. My 4-year-old and 6-year-old cannot even walk around the block in Sherman Oaks because of the needles that are all over the block as you walk around. My son has to protect his 4-year-old and 6-year-old from walking around the block. It's not safe here, and you can just look at these DAs, whether it's San Francisco or it's Los Angeles. But the problem is this state is run by liberal progressive Democrats, and it has been for a long time. We tried to get Gaston out once. That didn't work. Now he's up again. There's 68,000 votes short of getting him recalled, have it be on the ballot. I worry about California, and I worry that if the recall doesn't work in San Francisco, they're going to feel they have a green light to keep on going all across country.
So what do you get a sense? I mean, listen, you live in California, you've been there a long time. Mm-hmm. You're watching what's been playing out until the primaries and these choices being made tonight. Do you think that this is all of a sudden something's different? Do you feel like the pendulum has swung, or are you still feeling like it's a state of flux for Republicans and those and the Democrats alike who feel like it's time to get tougher, back to going tougher on crime?
First, you have to know there's really no Republican Party in the state of California. The Republican National Committee hasn't been here in years. They come here, collect money, and they leave. They get out of Dodge. So there's no real leadership here. You only have about 32% of the public are conservatives or Republicans, if you will. You have the one man running for mayor, Caruso, who was a Republican, became a Democrat. He would never get elected as a Republican. He had to become a Democrat to get the Republicans to vote, and for Democrats to vote for him. So it's really up to the Democrats if they want to change. The Republicans have wanted to change for a long time, but nothing's going to change unless Democrats show up in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and vote. But you look at 20% of the people are going to come out and vote today in the primaries. So 20% of the people in Los Angeles are going to nominate 100% of those who are going to represent them going into the future. That's unconscionable.
Let me ask you this, because a lot of Democrats in California have been changing their political messaging, and it sounds very conservative. I mean, they're saying, let's get tough on crime. I just want to ask if those who don't ascribe to that philosophy, the Democrats who are holding fast to the progressive policies, do you think that their criticism of those who criticize these policies, these crime policies, is that, look, we're in a different era because COVID and the economy has just, it's just got people desperate and broke, and that's why crime's up, not because of the crime policies. Is there anything to that?
No, crime is up because nobody gets prosecuted for those crimes. I mean, look at this kid with the car, stolen car, runs over a mother and a child, and he's kicked free before the mother and child are out of the hospital. I mean, this is the way it is in California. It's an ollie oxen, free, has nothing to do with COVID. That's just a blame game. It has to do with the fact that nobody's being prosecuted. That's why you have people in the DA's office leaving the DA's office. That's why the DA is being sued by people in his office, if you will. So it has nothing to do with COVID. That, again, is just one of those, let's blame COVID, let's blame Russia, let's blame everybody else, when in fact, this state is run 100% by Democrats, 2/3 majority in the Assembly, 2/3 majority in the state Senate. So, and then you have a governor who's a Democrat, you have a mayor who's a Democrat. The hope is that isn't it interesting? We're looking for a Democrat to take over the mayor's race because he used to be a Republican. That's where we are in this state.
So the last time I heard someone use the expression "ollie ollie oxen free" was when your dad was president and I was in grade school. So I'm going to take you back there because you started it. And I want to ask you in all earnestness, if Ronald Reagan would fit into the current Republican Party today.
Oh, listen, I think he would have some trouble because of 1986, Simpson-Mazzoli. They would hold that against him, if you will. But so would John Kennedy. John Kennedy would have trouble getting in the Democrat Party today. I mean, both parties have changed in many, many ways. But, both of them, looking for leadership, if you will, going into the future. But John Kennedy and Ronald Reagan today would have a tough time in their respective parties. I would like to think Ronald Reagan still win the nomination. I'd like to think John Kennedy would still be in a position of power, but he would be too conservative, and my father might, in fact, be too liberal for the Democrat or for the Republican Party. The parties have both changed over all these years, and you can look at social media and all the things around it that have actually changed the dynamic of politics today.
Well, we're different animals, right? We literally know way more than we should with all the information in our hands at any given moment. But that does make me ask this question. I started this segment with you talking about you knowing the pendulum swinging in politics. Do you foresee the pendulum swinging back to a day a little bit more when your dad was running the show in the Republican Party and John Kennedy was running the show in the Democratic Party? Do you see things going back to those days, or is that horse out of the barn and we are going to have to figure this one out and it's getting ugly out there?
You know something? You're going to have to figure it out yourself. We happen to live in a great time, but whether it be the 60s with John Kennedy and Jackie and all that, or Ronald Reagan in the 1980s, it's a different time. What happened? People are angry. I don't care if you agreed or disagreed with John Kennedy. He loved America. I don't care if you agreed or disagreed with my father. He loved America. We have nobody out there anymore that's talking about loving America. We don't teach our children to love America. I mean, you have D-Day that just happened, and you have a lot of kids don't even know what D-Day is all about. They have no idea. I went to Normandy a couple of years ago to raise the American flag at the American Cemetery. 25-year-old kid here in L.A. who I was playing golf with said, well, why would there be a cemetery at Normandy, France? Or I was in Berlin.
Wow.
I was in Berlin a few years later and said, what do you know about the Berlin Wall? Young high school students said, well, the Americans put it up to keep the communists out of their sector. We don't educate. I learned about America, say, at the right front seat of a station wagon as a small boy, 8, 9, 10 years old. My dad would pick me up on a Saturday morning and ride me out to the ranch. He would sing me about the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard. He would talk to me about America, the greatness of America. Nobody's talking about the greatness of America. We're pointing fingers and blaming America while the rest of the world is waiting for us to lead. We're sitting back saying, what the hell happened?
Yeah, I really hate the fact that both parties, these candidates, scream at each other and then scream that the other guy hates America. That's just not true. I don't think there's any candidate out there, Republican or Democrat, who hates America. And I'm going to one-up you on that station wagon. I'm from Canada, and I learned a lot about America growing up. And sometimes it was from the 8-track tape of the Best of America, the actual band, the Best of America. So Ventura Highway is in my head, even as I speak with you. Hey, will you come back a lot and talk to me again, Michael? It was really nice to see you.
I love to. It's a great time for me and do it. I'll probably catch hell from people say, oh, what do you mean, Ronald Reagan? Well, it's a different time. And the Republican Party is going to have to find their leader, and the Democrat Party is going to have to find their leader, and they're going to have to find a way to get together. Ronald Reagan got together with Tip O'Neill. You have Bill Clinton. Somebody asked me, who do you think the best president was since Ronald Reagan? I said, Bill Clinton. And they looked at me like, are you nuts? I said, no. Bill Clinton balanced the budget, gave us welfare reform. Who did he work with? Newt Gingrich. Those were times when people worked together. We don't work together any longer.
Well, I like that you're fair-minded. It's why you're on NewsNation. Thanks, Michael Reagan.
You got it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.